Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. Here's every day's video. It's Tuesday. On Tuesdays, I try to test my palate. There's no better way than a mystery beer because I have no idea what it is. The beer is courtesy of Steven. Thanks so much, Steven. I really appreciate it. And yeah, let's get into it. He did cover the cap, which makes me think that maybe it gives a hint. So let me put that away. Okay, definitely is in the stout to porter range in terms of color. So I'm so in the habit, so used to like looking at it after I pour it. All right, so there's a lot of black and brown in there, but there's a little bit of red. So that's kind of interesting. A little bit of red, especially at the bottom there. About half a finger, 3/4 a finger ahead. It's a light mocha color. So again, like it's definitely looking like it's in the porter or stout family. Let's get into the aroma. Oh, interesting. Okay. There's more sweetness to this. I shouldn't say more sweetness. There's a different kind of sweetness to this. It's interesting. It's like this earthy, and I mentioned that red color. I guess had nothing to do with that because I don't think it has cherry juice in it. But like, there's like this little bit of a cherry note too. Man, I want to say something, but I've incorrectly said this thing in many mystery beers. I'm gonna wait a little bit till I taste it. I'm not convinced it's a stout right now, or if it is a stout, it has some adjuncts that are making it go a different direction. Kiss of vanilla. A little bit of like brown bread. Let's get into the taste. Cheers. Thanks again, Steven. Okay. All right. Yeah. So some barrel aging. There is this, I don't think it has molasses or brown bread in it, but it has like that kind of almost not soy saucy, but there's a little bit of a savory note fighting through the sweetness of this beer. And it's like earth. I've never eaten wet mulch before, but like how that kind of smells. There's kind of a little bit of a taste there, independent of what I think is some barrel aging. And yeah, there's like this cherry. This beer almost drinks like 75% barrel aged stout, 25% like Belgian quad. That's the thing I didn't want to say in the aroma because I've incorrectly said Belgian a few times in these mystery beers. But there is this, without the Belgian yeast part of it, there are notes that I get in a Belgian quad that I get in this, but then it's grounded in more stout territory for me. I mean, it could be a blend. It could be, but that's not a common blend. And yeah, that vanilla thing is there. It was like a little bit of a prickly carbonation. I'm going to guess this beer is double digits. I'm going to guess 12%. Has a drier finish. Besides a barrel, there's a good chocolate note. And then again, that's what's interesting about this is that chocolate element is this mix of how I can sometimes get chocolate in a Belgian quad, but it drinks more like chocolate in a stout. Doesn't have a lot of roastiness despite that like chocolate note. So that's kind of throwing me off a little bit if I'm being honest. It's pretty dry, especially towards the finish and into the finish. Excuse me. So I'm going to say 12% barrel-aged stout. I don't think there's cacao nibs. but I wouldn't be surprised. I'll put it that way. So 12% barrel age stout. Let's get into it. Okay. I'm not mad at myself for this, if I'm remembering this beer correctly. So this is Stone's Woot Stout. Imperial Stout brewed with pecans, wheat, and rye, and then 1/4 aged in bourbon barrels. It's 11.5% ABV. I said 12%. And I was getting that stout thing, but then there were these other elements that were throwing me off the trail a little bit. I mean, at least to me, I kind of wish I had pulled like a nuttiness from the pecans. But it oddly makes sense. Over the years, Stone Farking Wheat and Woot Stout has become one of our most anticipated annual releases, and not just because it's an astonishingly flavorful beer concocted as a collaboration between Farks Drew Curtis, Nerd Royalty Will Wheaton, and Stone Brewing co-founder Greg, is it Koch? Did I pronounce it? It's the incredible label art adoring this beer over the years that has elevated it to the pinnacle of beer geekery and beer geekery. This year's heroic artwork comes from Tom Rainey, who has a history drawing comics at Marvel and DC from X-Men to Batman. Good on him. His label art depicts a superpowered mecha gargoyle ready to spring into action to protect the sublime sanctuary of great craft beer. So again, Imperial Stout Imperial Stout brewed with pecans, wheat, and rye, 1/4 aged in bourbon barrels. The pecans, I don't know if that was part of it. I'm going to focus more on the wheat and the rye. That rye, how rye can have a little bit of a spicy note, I think is that 25% where I'm like, Belgian quad, like it has that chocolate, but then it's like mixed with this, how I kind of think that isn't a Belgian quad. So I think the rye, based on what's in this beer, maybe the wheat a little bit, it is kind of how I knew this isn't 100% a stout, as I think of stouts. And then that little bit of barrel aging, although the barrel came through decently. I mean, not something like some of these guys, but like it's pretty decent. And then I feel really, I'm really bad at, in my opinion, at guessing ABVs. Feel really good about that ABV. But yeah, what do you think? How do you think I did? Have you had this beer lately? I think I have some. Yeah, I have some aging up there. What year is this one? 'Cause I don't think I've had this one. Silence is the enemy of beer tube. I don't know. It's not one I've had. Anyway, anything, everything, comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Steven, thank you again so much for sending this, man. I really appreciate it. It's always awesome to do mystery beers, and to walk away from them feeling pretty good is always even better. So thank you again. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untappd. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. So always please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.